Speech. Okay, so Mr. Gelbo, under cover of night, the Liberals and the Heritage Ministry and the House of Commons, along with the Bloc and the NDP, voted for Bill C-10, removing or handing over the internet to the CRTC. So starting a clock on the censorship of the internet if the Senate gives this royal assent. And so this is the National Post reporting on this. Liberals passed C-10 to regulate social media streaming. The internet. They're regulating the internet. That's what they're doing. Don't let the National Post lie to you, because that's what they're doing there. Here is Candace Malcolm. She says, if you thought C-10 was bad, right before the House of Commons breaks for summer, the Trudeau government will introduce a new bill dealing with hate propaganda, hate crimes, and hate speech. So that's C-12. I've been watching for this, and well, here's some stuff to tell you, right? Gelbo told an industry conference last week that the upcoming online harms legislation, which will deal with hate speech and other illegal content, will be even more contentious than broadcasting bill C-10. Now this is going to be controversial. People think that C-10 was controversial. Wait till we table this legislation, Gelbo said in an appearance at the Banff World Media Festival. And here is what Pamela Wallin said about C-10. Pamela Wallin is a former broadcaster and current senator. She says at 1:30 this morning, this is yesterday, in the House of Commons passed Bill C-10. Now with just 2 days left on the calendar, the Senate is being asked to pass it. No scrutiny, no oversight. We haven't even seen the secret amendments they passed. Kangaroo court would be an understatement. The government has had 6 years to pass legislation it wants. It is not our job in the Senate to rubber stamp and give up our constitutional responsibilities because they want fodder for an election, especially if it means killing free speech. I will do everything I can to make sure this bill isn't rammed through. Standing up to Bill C-10 is standing up against censorship and standing up for free speech. If we don't say no now, it will be too late. So this is why I said yesterday, even though the Senate said there's 0% chance this bill is going to get passed this week, it's one of those situations where you're like, holding on by your fingertips and kind of going, right? Gritting your teeth and hoping that you don't fall off the edge into an abyss of censorship, etc. If they stop this, then there's a chance that Canada can be redeemed. But if this goes through, it's it. Game over. Not that you can't do anything about it, but good luck. Good luck. You don't fight that, right? I'm going to show you in a minute how critical race theory is being used and weaponized against political opponents over decades, right? And it's starting now, and I'll show you what I mean. When I say you can't fight this, it's like I said to Greg yesterday. Trump is a powerful, rich person who's insulated. He can't be bought. He can't be bought. Presumably, he can't be bought. He has enough money that he doesn't need to be bought, right? If he's compromised to that level, you'd know it. I guess there'd be indications, Hunter Biden-esque indications. So can't be bought necessarily. Can insulate himself. Has security. Has worked and moved in circles where it's potentially dangerous to be who he is, doing what he's doing. I'm talking real estate in mafia-controlled New York, right? So building a real estate empire in a place like New York where you have to negotiate with neighborhoods, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, is not easy. So if they can do to Trump what they did to Trump in the 2020 presidential election, then I don't see how somebody like me or somebody like Ezra Levant or somebody like Andrew Lawton. Somebody said Andrew Lawton's controlled opposition. I'd explain that. I'm not sure what you mean, because I've talked to him. He seems legit, above board. I haven't heard anything crazy about him. But I don't follow shows that he does, so I don't know what his position is on most things. But anyway, regardless, I haven't seen him being a controlled opposition. But if they could do that to Trump, why would I believe that here in Canada this time the public, even with the public behind Trump, the public was behind Trump. There was a lot of people. I'll show you Iowa in just a minute when we get this done. I'll show you Iowa and what they're doing to target. Even if you win, they'll do to whoever wins what they did to Trump, which is bad press, misrepresent what he does, make people hate you for a person that you aren't, and for things that you don't do or haven't done, instead of covering honestly what you do in your accomplishments and what you do accomplish during your time. And people make errors, sure, but by and large, again, I don't want to get into Trump, but the point is, if they could do that to him, Why would anybody think that even if somebody could come in and break the spell of what's happening in Canada right now, the media would never let it go. Like, they just won't let it go. Look what's happening to Dr. Brian Bridle. Look at what's happening to critical race theory in Iowa. I'm going to talk about it in just a second, I know, but I've read it already, so I know. So there's lots of examples. And I'm going to tell you about what's going on with Brian Bridle as well. I'm going to read an email that he sent and show you a news article that defames him. And this is the modus operandi. This is what's going on. This is what happens if you step out of line. So it's very difficult to fight this. So how do you deal with this? I don't know. Like, shrink your circle down to very, very small, and I don't know. Hope you go unnoticed, right? If you fight, be prepared. Be prepared. Okay, let's finish off free speech here. Maxime Bernier says, YouTube took down one of our videos about a freedom rally last week. Twitter keeps shadow banning this account, and now the censors at Facebook are warning users about our content. Did they all get orders from Ottawa to silence me and the PPC? Yes. Yep, that's exactly what happened. Bill C-10 is, by all intents and purposes, in effect, in my opinion. And even if the Senate stops it, they're going to try again if they get if we go through an election and they get a majority, it's in. If we go through an election and they get a minority, it's in, because we've already seen that. If we go through an election and the Conservatives get in, they're going to say they're protecting free speech, and they're going to put in a bill that does exactly the same thing, but it's instead of being sold as a whatever this is, hate speech protection, they'll just say it's a free speech protection, and then they'll do exactly the same thing. Oh, we're just regulating a little bit. Don't worry about it. It's the same thing, right? Same thing. They're going to the same place. Here is Gad Sad, and he says, people are waking up. People are activating their inner honey badgers. The tide is turning. Oh, I hope so, Gad. Free people cannot be quietly led to their demise. They will wake up, and the pushback won't be pretty. I'll be the guy in the back row smiling proudly. I think you need to be up front fighting currently, sir. Like, you can't be in the back row letting other people do it. That's not the right strategy. Here's a gentleman addressing I can't remember who he's addressing, a school board maybe, and he's talking about how free speech is not safe, and it doesn't need to be safe. And here's the Supreme Court ruling on that, and like, you can shove it up your right. Here we go.
I'm going to quote to you, solicitor. I'm quoting, just a minute, do not talk over me. This is my comment, not your comment. I'm quoting to you now from the United States Supreme Court 1964 case, New York Times versus Sullivan. This is constitutional case law in this country, and I'm quoting you from the US Supreme Court. The judges wrote that this nation is founded on the, quote, profound national commitment to the principle that debate on public issues shall be uninhibited, robust, and wide open, and that it may well include vehement, caustic, and sometimes unpleasantly sharp attacks on government and public officials. That's constitutional case law in this nation. I don't have to be nice to you. Nobody behind me has to be nice to you. If you don't like living in the United States of America, then you can all move to Russia, Cuba, or China. This is the First Amendment. And I will caution you, solicitor.
Yeah. Wonderful. Like, sometimes when you say things that people don't like you've done a job, right? This solicitor, this person here's done a job, and this person's upset at it. And he comes in and says, you've done a job that's crap. And the person says, you're going to make me cry. Please don't attack me. And then the person says, well, yeah, but you've like wasted thousands of taxpayer dollars here and here and here and here. That's a crap job. If you were doing the job right, you wouldn't have done this. You would have done this, blah, 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 blah. And the person says, hold on a second. You're attacking me personally. You can't make me cry. Get out. Right? And then they call the police. And that's where we're going, right? Without free speech protection, that's where we're going. There's no accountability, because there's no way to hold somebody accountable by being nice all the time. Oh, hi, could you explain these charges for me, please? Oh, right, but it shouldn't be $1,000. It should be no dollars, but you charge me $1,000. Oh, you're going to have me arrested. Okay, bye. Right? Like, that's where we're going, guys. Like, there's no, if you can't stand up to somebody and outline why what they did was wrong and tell them that clearly, and then, like, have that be the fulcrum of the discussion rather than your being mean about it, then you don't have the ability to hold people accountable. We don't have the ability in Canada right now to hold anybody accountable. The city, nope. The public health officers, nope. They told me I was being aggressive and hostile, so I'm not allowed to address them. right? The provincial government, no, they'll just kick anybody out of the caucus that disagrees. The federal government, ha ha ha. Justin Trudeau comes out of his cottage and has an election style press conference every day, and that's it. Job done. See you later. I'm going to call Macron a little bit later, and we're going to play virtual reality tennis. Like, this is the prime minister, for crying out loud.